WatchMaestro fam, welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to go through a very important topic that keeps coming up. Amir, what watch should I buy because I want to invest? So today is going to be a little bit of a beginner's guide to investing in watches. And this is not going to be a comprehensive guide. It's going to be enough for you to get an idea and do your own research and then find out more information about it all yourself before you make your decisions. So, why do people even ask, what should I invest in? Well, watches have increasingly become items that have shown to outperform other kind of investment categories. Many pieces pretty consistently outperform even precious metals such as gold and silver. And if you pick correctly, you can see your money grow in the long term. Now, obviously, it's not something that gives you dividends. It's just another way to diversify your cash, right? Your investments. So the other sort of advantage with putting your money into timepieces is that it's firstly very easy to move that cash around. So many people put a lot of their more liquid savings into watches because once they have a couple of pieces, if they need to move from a country to country or move around or whatever, they can easily take those watches with them and be able to sell that watch and cash out essentially, right? So it's a very easy way to move cash about. Now, let's talk about some of the things you need to actually consider when thinking about buying watches as investments. So a mistake that people make very commonly is they just look at any kind of watch and they just look at, more popular sort of models like a Rolex, and they assume that if a watch is a Rolex, then it's a good investment piece. That's simply not the case. Whether something is going to be a good investment piece or not comes down to multiple different factors. I will talk about just a handful of them for you to consider, just to get the wheels turning in your head. So on this side, I've got a Rolex Datejust and I've got a Rolex Submariner. Both of these watches are in high production every year. They're not particularly hard to get your hand on. So naturally, they are not going to be particular investment pieces. They are going to be safe pieces for you to buy and enjoy. And then when it comes time for you to want to sell that watch, you would not lose a lot of money. You would, or maybe even be able to sell it for roughly as much as you got it, right? That's the first thing you need to consider. So the limit of production of a particular watch. When something is in more high quantity of production, obviously the price of it is going to be not as premium, right? It's going to be something that's easy to find. Rolex, for example, puts out about 1 million watches a year, whereas AP, I think, is around like 200 or 300,000. Same with like Patek, they're comparable. The amount of production of a watch is the first thing you need to consider. The other thing is obviously the brand of the watch, right? Does the name carry any weight? Rolex obviously carries weight. AP obviously carries weight. Patek obviously carries weight. But then, as I said before, it comes to the categorization. So yes, Rolex, for example, might produce 1 million watches in total, but there are certain models that are very limited. Those particular models would be a very good idea to buy as an investment. Another thing that could count very heavily towards whether something can or cannot be an investment is if something is about to get discontinued. Now, you don't know that. You can only sort of speculate and have like good educated guesses based on how much research you've done, how long maybe you've been in the industry and things like that. So recently, a few years ago, Rolex discontinued the Rolex Daytona John Mayer. And when they did, naturally, the price shot up. Any other watch that you know or can tell one way or another whether it's going to get discontinued, obviously is going to sort of have the same sort of effect. But you don't know. You don't know when a watch is going to get discontinued. You can only sort of speculate. Like right now, there's speculation that maybe the Pepsi is going to get discontinued. Is it? Isn't it? I don't think it is personally. A lot of people think that it is. So they put their money where they believe it may be. And a lot of people did speculate that it was going to. They bought Pepsi's, and earlier this year, Rolex actually announced that they're not discontinuing it. The prices went all the way back down again. And everybody who bought the Pepsi at an elevated price basically lost money. Those are things that you need to consider. You know, like RMs, they come, for example, we just recently sold an RM that was one of 50. Now that is an investment piece. That's something that you can hold on to and know that when it comes time to sell it, you can more or less for sure guaranteed at least sell it for the same price that you got it, but likely be able to sell it at a higher price because it is a limited piece. And at some point down the track, somebody is going to want it somewhere in the world where they cannot find it, at least maybe not in the condition that you have it, and they will very happily pay you a premium to get that watch. Which brings me to the next point. The quality of the watch also matters. So something that's discontinued, that's limited edition or whatever, but the value of that piece is going to matter based on the condition of that watch and the inclusion. So does it come with a full set, or is it just a naked? So no box, no papers or anything like that. That's going to affect its price. So if you got, and again, that's not to say that you shouldn't buy that piece. It's to say that be careful what you pay for that piece and be realistic about how much money you can expect to sell that for down the track if it doesn't have box and papers, for example, right? As I was saying before, the quality of a particular watch, right? If you're buying something in a much better quality, if you're buying something that is unique in its own way, potentially, like for example, a Rolex Daytona rainbow bezel, right? Very hard to find, very hard to get. If you can get one that's in great condition with a full set and keep it like that, don't wear it, down the track, yes, that is probably going to be what you would consider an investment. That's going to retain, but very likely increase in its value over time because it's hard to get. If it's something that's hard to get in a particular region, so for example, again, the Rolex Daytona with the Arabic dial, that is originally only released for the Middle East region. Now, obviously somebody can take it and sell it in other regions in the world, but it's not quite so common in places like Australia, for example. So if you can have that and be one of the very few people who can supply it to that region of the world down the track at some point, chances are that's going to be a decent investment piece. So we're looking for unique qualities and features, something that is hard to get your hands on. Those things are going to determine more and more whether something is going to be an investment piece or not. Don't just reach out and go for a watch just because it's a Rolex or just even for that matter an AP or a Patek. Different models and different brands carry with them different kind of value. They hold a different type of value over time. And finally, and probably the most important thing, the market itself also has some sort of an effect on whether something is going to be an investment piece or not. If there is a lot of commotion and problems in the world, then the market's going to be down, right? The value of watches in general is going to drop down. Like right now, at the timing, at the filming of this video, it is generally a good time to buy watches right now. Markets are down, and in my opinion, they're going to continue to climb up steadily, slowly, maybe be much higher than where they are by the end of the year. Like right now, we're in July. Filming this, so probably by the end of the year it will be at a higher point than it is now, and it's going to continue to climb. So those are just some basic things to consider for yourself. Usually speaking, investment pieces don't come in anything under $15,000-$20,000, generally speaking, especially for the newer sort of model watches. The higher and higher you go, the more likely it is that you can get yourself on a piece that is a bit more limited in its production, that is of a good condition, that has something special or unique about it, and it's going to be something that is sought after in the future, and therefore be something that you can call an investment piece. Until next time, guys.